it's Jennifer from Flux. In this video, I'm going to show you how to crochet this beautiful Snowfall Table Runner. This is a gorgeous little table runner you can make, and you can really make it as long as you like with lovely little motifs. Now, I used one of my star motifs. If you've made the winter solstice wrap, you may recognize this motif, and we've kind of transformed them into the idea of snowflakes for this one. I've done kind of like cream color star motifs that look like little snowflakes, and down here at either end of our table runner, we've added a tassel. So this table runner is going to go on not a huge table, but you can really make this as long as you like. I'm going to show you how to start off by crocheting one of the motifs to start here, and then we're going to build onto it until it's as long as you would like it to be, and then we're going to end it with one at the other end, so it's, if we fold it inward, so it's symmetrical on either side. And then I'm going to show you how to add some very, very easy tassels to either end of your table runner as well, just to give it a little bit, a little dressy look for either end, kind of like a finished look for your home decor. So you could put this on a dining room table, you could put it on an end table, you could make it shorter and make it more of like a doily or something like that. So let's get started. We're going to talk about supplies first and then move on to crocheting the motifs, and we're going to do these using the join as you go technique, so it's really easy to keep connecting them on. Now, the finished table runner I have here is about 30 inches long, not including the tassels. Each tassel is 3 inches tall, so the total length, including the tassels, is 36 inches long. And then this is about 10 inches wide at its widest point of the table runner. Now, like I said before, you can make this as long as you like. It doesn't have to be the same length as mine. You can make it for a larger table, or, kind of compress it and make it a little bit smaller as well. So let's get started. For this project, you'll need a pair of scissors, a tapestry needle. A tape measure is helpful, especially if you have a table in mind that you're customizing this for. You might want to kind of measure as you go along, or even just throw it on the table and see how it looks. I grabbed a reusable stitch marker. You could use a scrap piece of yarn if you prefer. But my thinking with this is whenever I'm doing a project with motifs, I like to put a stitch marker on that very first motif I do. In this case, we're going to do a long table runner. So I like to put one on the first one because when you add motifs and crochet them on, you're turning it and moving it around. And sometimes we lose where the beginning is and how to add it on there. So I like to just have a reusable stitch marker, or even tie a little piece of scrap yarn and mark my spot where I began. And that helps me as I'm adding onto it more and more and more. For our yarn, we are going to be using 372 yards of a medium 4 yarn on the yarn weight scale. I have 2 balls here of 24/7 cotton from Lion Brand yarn. This color is called Ecru. I'm going to be using 2 balls of the Ecru. This is color 98. Also, I wanted to point out that this yarn does come in dye lots. So just look at the dye lot and make sure you have consistency of color, when you're matching up your yarn. And this is a mercerized cotton. You could use a dishcloth, like a traditional dishcloth yarn. This is like I said, a mercerized cotton. So it has a little bit of a different feel, a little bit of a sheen, and I thought it would be perfect for snowflakes to give them a little bit of shine and sparkle. And you could really do any colors you like. I chose this off-white to kind of make it look wintry. So after the holidays, I could kind of leave it on my table and have like a winter look still. But you could do holiday colors. You could do colors that match the decor in your home. It's totally up to you. I'm doing 2 balls of the Ecru. I thought that would be very pretty for the table. My table is long. I have a long dining room table, and I'm going to put it down the middle, and it's kind of like a darker wood. So I thought that the Ecru would really stand out pretty. So I'd love to hear what colors you're picking for yours as well, because you could really get creative with the colors of this and all the different motifs. So each ball of this is 186 yards. So like I mentioned, I'm using a total of 372 yards for this. If you need to substitute yarn, look for a medium 4 on the yarn weight scale and a yarn that recommends a 4mm G crochet hook, and you'll be just fine. If you don't have that exact yarn or exact weight, you could make larger or smaller motifs. Just know that the finished dimensions will be a little bit different. And on that note, we're going to be using a 4mm G crochet hook. This is actually the recommended hook size of this yarn. So if you stick with the hook recommendation and the medium 4 on the yarn weight scale, you'll be just fine with that. The other reason why I picked cotton is it's a great cotton for yarn for home decor. It's cotton. You can throw it in the washing machine. You may need to block it a little bit, or if you want to hand wash it and be a little bit more gentle, but it's a great yarn for around the house. So let's get started. Okay, I went ahead and switched to the dark background so you could see, because the white on the white table was a little hard to see. So what we're going to do is grab our yarn and our hook, and we're going to put a slip knot on our hook to begin. Wrap the yarn around your fingers to make a loop, bring the yarn behind the loop, reach in with your hook, bring up a loop, and tighten. As a side note, my yarn is a little bit, it looks a little bit like noodles right now. It's because I pulled from the center of the ball, and sometimes it's a little bit crunchy on the inside there, like it gets like kind of crumpled up, but when we crochet, it'll be fine. So if you do the same thing and your yarn looks a little bit like ramen noodles right now, just know that it will kind of straighten out when you crochet, so no problem. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is chain 4. To make a chain, wrap the yarn around the hook and bring it through the loop. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we're going to join in the farthest chain from the hook to create a ring. So go down to that first chain that you made, insert the hook, bring up a loop. Now bring that loop through the loop that's already on your hook, okay? So then what we're going to do too is take this tail and hold it along the edge as we work, and that will weave it in as we go along. Now we just did our ring that we'll work our stitches into with a chain. If you prefer the magic ring, which I know a lot of you do, feel free to do that instead. No big deal. You can do either one. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to work 2 double crochets into the center of the ring. So wrap yarn around hook, insert the hook into the center of the ring, and bring up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on the hook. Wrap yarn around hook, bring it through the first 2 loops. Wrap yarn around hook, bring it through the last 2 loops, and that's 1 double crochet. We need to make a second one. So work a second double crochet into the center of the ring. And then what we're going to do is we're going to chain 1. And then we're going to work 3 double crochets into the center of the ring. So that chain 3 we just did counted as one of our double crochets. It kind of gives the appearance of the other one, okay? So if you need to slide your stitches over too to give yourself a little bit more room in this ring, definitely do that. And we're still holding that tail along the edge as we work. We're going to do that all the way around, okay? So like I said before, we're going to work 3 double crochets into the center of the ring. So 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, and 3 double crochet, all in that center of the ring. And then what we're going to do is we're going to chain 1. We're going to do this a couple times. So chain 1 and then work 3 more double crochet, holding that tail along the edge. So we're going to work 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, and 3 double crochet. Sometimes when you use cotton yarn, it's a little bit grippy on your hook. Okay, and we're going to do that again. We're going to push our stitches over. We're going to chain 1, and then we're going to do that again, okay? We're going to do this until we have 6 groups. So you can see sort of they're separated by that chain 1 we keep doing. So you can see 1 group, 2 group, 3 group. We need a total of 6 groups, okay? So we did our chain 1. Now we're going to work 3 double crochet into the center of the ring once again. So 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1. Okay, pushing stitches over as needed, and you can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We need a total of 6, so let's keep going. 3 double crochet in the center of the ring. 1, 2, 3, chain 1, pushing things over as needed, and let's do that last group. 1, 2, whoops, and 3, and a chain 1. And then what we're going to do is we're going to join with a slip stitch in that top chain. So remember we did that chain 3 at the beginning of the round? We're going to join with a slip stitch into the topmost chain. So insert the hook into that topmost chain and bring up a loop. Now bring that through the loop that's already on your hook, and round 1 is complete, okay? So this is our first snowflake for our table runner. We're going to make this snowflake, this first one, completely independently of the others. We'll be attaching all the other ones onto them, okay? So what we're going to do now is we're going to, because we're sticking with the same color, we want to slip stitch over to that first chain 1 space, which is all the way over here. So we're back here. We need to get our hook over here, okay? So we need to slip stitch over to the right space. If you're switching colors, you can just fasten off right now and just tie it right into that space, but we're sticking with the same color for our snowflake, okay? So what we want to do is insert the hook, bring up a loop, bring that loop through the loop already on your hook, into that stitch. Now go into the next stitch, work a slip stitch into the next stitch, slip stitch into the next stitch, and now we're at the right spot, okay? So what we want to do now we're ready to begin round 2, okay? So for round 2, what we want to do is we want to chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and in that same space, we're going to work, because this counts as a double crochet once again, in that same space, we're going to work 2 double crochet, 1 and 2, chain 2, 1, 2, and then 3 double crochet, all in that chain 1 space. So 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, and 3 double crochet, all in that same space. Okay, hop over to the next chain 1 space, and in this space, we're going to work 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, okay? So 3 double crochet, 1, 2, and 3, chain 2, 1, 2, and 3 double crochet. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, then we're just going to do this in the chain 1 space all the way around. So in each chain 1 space all the way around, work 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. I'm going to go ahead and do that, and we'll rejoin when we get to the end of the round. Okay, we're just coming up to the end of the round. We're at that last chain 1 space. So once again, we're going to work 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3, chain 2, 1, 2, and 3 double crochet, all in that same chain 1 space. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay, now we're going to join with a slip stitch to close the round. Insert the hook into that 3rd chain up, bring up a loop, now bring that loop through the loop that's already on your hook, and round 2 is complete. It has a very pretty beginnings of a snowflake look here, and we're going to add one more round onto that, and that will be the rest of our snowflake. So let's move on to round 3. Okay, so round 2 is complete. For round 3, we need to get our hook into the right spot. We're here, but we need to get to this first corner space. So now we have some corners that we've created and some side spaces. So we have a corner and a side and a corner and a side, just to let you know as we complete this round, I'll be referring to them that way. But we need to slip stitch over to this first corner space. Okay, so what you'll want to do is insert your hook into that first stitch and bring up a loop. Now bring that loop through the loop that's already on your hook. And then we're just going to do that. It's a little snug there. We're just going to do that into the next stitch as well. And then we're at our corner space. So there's one more spot. We can go right there. And now we're at the right spot. So we're ready to begin round 3. So if you're changing colors, now I'm doing kind of like a snowflake monochromatic look, but if you're doing like holiday colors or home decor colors or something like that, and you need to switch colors, you don't have to slip stitch over. You can just cut the yarn, fasten off, and tie it into any corner space, okay? If you go to the written pattern on the blog, again, the link is down below. There is a notation of that if you do want to switch colors, so you can refer back to the pattern as well. So for round 3, what we're going to do is chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And once again, this counts as one of our double crochets. And then into this same corner space, we're going to work 3 double crochet. So 1, whoops, drop my loops, 2, and 3, just like that. Then we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and in that same corner space, and you can push things over if needed to make yourself some more space, we're going to work 4 double crochets, okay? So 1, 2, 3, and 4, okay? So this is going to give us one of our little snowflake points, okay? Now you're going to go into that next space. It's a side space this time, because see, here's a corner space, so we have a side space next, and we're going to work a slip stitch into that side space. So go right into that space, bring up a loop. Now bring that loop through the loop that's already on your hook, and then we're going to hop over to the next corner space, and we're going to do kind of what we did back here. So in this space, we're going to work 4 double crochet, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Once again, chain 2, 1, 2, and then work 4 double crochet into that same space. Again, pushing things over to make yourself some more space. So 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, 3 double crochet, and 4 double crochet, okay? Go to the next side space, work a slip stitch, okay? That's what, if we look back at what we've done so far, that's what's going to give us these beautiful points, those slip stitches in between, because it kind of curves inward now, okay? Okay, moving right along, go to that next corner space, and once again, work 4 double crochet, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, we're going to chain 2 to create that nice little point. And then we're going to work 4 more double crochet in the same space. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so we have another beautiful point on our little snowflake. Hop over to the next corner space, and again, you're going to work a slip stitch. Okay, hop over to the next corner space, and we're going to work 4 double crochets once again. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, chain 2. We're just repeating this all the way around, and 4 more double crochet. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Work a slip stitch into the next side space. And we are making some beautiful progress with our little snowflake here. Go to the next corner space and repeat 4 double crochet, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Chain 2, 1, 2, and 4 double crochet, scooting things over if needed in that same corner space. Okay, so 1, whoops, I can't grab it there. There we go. And 2, and 3, and 4. Okay, we are in the home stretch. We just have one more to do. Go in that side space and work a slip stitch, and in that last point work once again 4 double crochet, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then what you're going to do is chain 2, 1, 2, and 4 double crochet, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, we have one more side space, work a slip stitch in there, and then what we're going to do to close the round is count the 3rd chain up and join with a slip stitch to close the round. Okay, so then you can cut the yarn. I've already cut mine, and then fasten it off. Okay, so this is our very first snowflake, and what I like to do is just kind of lay it down, sharpen up all those corners nice and neat. And what we're going to do next is work on our second snowflake that we're going to join onto the first one. So what I like to do, I mentioned this a little earlier in the video, what I like to do is take a stitch marker and just mark the top, okay? This is the first snowflake at the very top point, and then just kind of throw that on there so we can mark it. As we add more snowflakes, we're going to be turning it and crocheting around, and we may lose sense of where the top of our piece is, okay? So we're going to do that. So what we want to do is just kind of slide this out of the way, and we're going to make our second snowflake. Now, we're going to work rounds 1 and 2 the same way we did before, so I'm not going to go through that. You can back up the video if you need to and rewatch it. So I'm going to go ahead and work rounds 1 and 2 of our second snowflake, and then when we work on round 3, we're going to do that together so we can join it on, and I can show you how to do that. So this one is our first snowflake. We're going to start on the second one. So we can kind of slide this out of the way, grab our yarn, and start on the second one. Okay, so I went ahead, like I said, and worked rounds 1 and 2 of our snowflake. Now we're ready to begin round 3. I'm going to keep this snowflake handy because as we come around, we're going to be doing some joins, okay? So what we want to do, and as a side note, I've already slip stitched over to the correct point. So now we're ready to begin round 3, okay? So what we're going to do for round 3 is chain 3, and I'm not going to do a join on the first point yet. I'm going to do that first point and then we'll start joining. I don't like to do it right off the bat. I like to kind of get started with the round. So we want to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Again, that counts as a double crochet, and work 3 double crochets in that first corner space. So 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, and 3 double crochet. Okay, push things over to give yourself some space and chain 2, 1 and 2, and then we're going to work 4 double crochets into that point. So 1, that same corner space, excuse me, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, I'm kind of going through this part a little quicker because we've sort of done this before with our other snowflake, okay? Now we're going to work a slip stitch into that side space, same thing as before. And now we're ready to join. So let's join this next point together. So our snowflake, if we move it back, this is the top. We're going to join it here and here, okay? Just as a side note. So what we want to do is begin the first part of our point, okay? So in this corner space, work your 4 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, instead of doing the chain 2 like we've normally been doing all along, we're going to do a join. So remember I said we're going to join, let me just zoom out a tiny bit so you can see. So we're going to join here and here. So let's do our first join here. So what we're going to do, instead of doing that chain 2, we're going to do a slip stitch join. So grab the point that you're going to be working into and kind of pick up your snowflake, go in from the top into that corner space with your hook, and then you're going to reach back and you're going to kind of scoop up the yarn, and you're going to bring that loop through the loop that's already on your hook. Okay, just like that. Then you're going to finish the point. So go back down into your snowflake down here and work 4 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then what we're going to do is work, same thing we've been doing, work a slip stitch into that side space. And then we're going to start working on the next point. So work 4 double crochets into that next corner space. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now we're ready for another join. So kind of swivel this back, kind of align everything. This is where this stitch marker really helps. You can really see, okay, that's the top now. And we're going to go into this next point that we'll be joining. We're just joining these 2 points to start. So go in from the top into this corner space of your other snowflake, reach back, scoop up that yarn. Now bring that loop through the loop that's already on your hook, and you're going to finish that point. So go ahead and work 4 double crochets into that same corner space. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now we're ready to just finish the rest of the snowflake. As you can see, it looks very pretty. It's very nicely joined. And we're just going to kind of finish the rest of the snowflake. So this part is kind of just a review. We've been doing this, you know, for the other snowflake as well, but we'll go through it together. So slip stitch into that side space, go to the next corner space and work 4 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now we're not doing any joins, so we're going to do a chain 2. When you don't have a join, do your chain 2. When you have a join, do the slip stitch, okay? And then 4 double crochets back into that same space. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, moving right along, work a slip stitch into that side space. And then work your next point, your little snowflake point, 4 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Chain 2, 1, 2, and 4 double crochet all in that same space. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Whoops. Now work a slip stitch into that side space, and then the next point, this is the last point, 4 double crochet. Actually, my loop got a little big, so let me just tighten that up a little. If you ever have a stitch that looks messy or doesn't look as neat, you can just pull it out and redo it. It's much easier to do it right then and there than to work it in and have it stick out later. Okay, so 4 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're not doing any joins here, so we're going to chain 2. 1, 2, and then 4 double crochet in the same space. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Work a slip stitch into that side space once again. And then we're at the end of the round. So what we're going to do is once again count 3 chains up. 1, 2, 3, and join with the slip stitch. Okay? Just like that. And now you can cut your yarn and fasten off. And you're ready for the next snowflake, okay? So once again, what I like to do is just kind of sharpen up those points. It just really makes it look nice when you do that. And we're going to realign our, I'm just going to get these, you can trim this tail. See that tail we wove in as we went along? You can trim those as you go. And we'll weave in these other ends later. But you can really appreciate now that little stitch marker we placed, because they're not going to go this way. They're going to kind of go this way. So it really does help to leave that on there. So we're going to make our next snowflake and the rest of them kind of on our own, but we're going to keep joining onto our snowflake. So we're going to work the next one, and I'm going to have it almost all the way made, but I do want to show you. So far we've just joined one snowflake onto one, but the next snowflake that we'll be doing, we're going to have multiple points, but some of them are going to be joining 1 point onto 2 points. And I want to show you how to do that because it's just slightly different. So when we rejoin, I'm going to show you that one last join that's just a little different. And then you can kind of keep building your snowflakes on. When we rejoin in just a minute, I'm going to show you that one join, but then after that, I'm going to show you what all the snowflakes kind of laid out looks like. And you can also go onto the blog, the link is down below, and see, I did like a top view. You can kind of see the layout of them. So we're going to have like one here, and then two here, and so forth. So you can kind of see how they all lay out, and you can kind of build on them and look at the picture. I think the picture is pretty helpful to see. So I'm going to show you one more joining scenario you might run into, and then we'll kind of just keep adding snowflakes. Okay, so we continued adding motifs to our table runner. Let's do a quick measurement on this. Now from end to end, from point to point, we have about, if we go all the way across here to the other point, we have about 30 inches. And then if we go across here to the widest points of the middle, it's about 10 inches. So I have total of 19 motifs, and I just wanted to show you the layout before we do the last part. Now remember, we started up here. Here's my stitch marker. So we did 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, and then we ended at the other star. So it's going to be symmetrical if you were to fold it in half, okay? So the last thing we need to do for our snowflakes is add a tassel at either end. Now this is completely optional. You don't have to do that. I just took the stitch marker off because we're going to tie a tassel at either end. So I'm going to just kind of slide this up here and grab some yarn. Now I have some yarn left to make the tassels. If you just want to do the little snowflake motifs, then you can do that as well instead of using it for your tassel. But what we're going to do is cut a piece of yarn about 12 inches long, cut a second piece of yarn about 12 inches long. If you notice, I'm just kind of eyeballing it. I'm not really measuring it. And what we want to do is take our yarn and we're going to let it run down the front of our hand, and we're going to start wrapping it around all 4 fingers. So every time you go around your index finger, count that as a wrap, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. We're going to do 20 wraps. It's not going to be a real poofy kind of tassel. And then I'm just going to cut the yarn, and this little bundle that we created on our hand, we're going to take one piece of our yarn and we're going to just slide it in just like that and tie it at the top, okay? So just tie that at the top. And then you're going to take your little bundle and just kind of smooth it out and grab your other piece of yarn and lay it down on the table. And then take your yarn little bundle here. So just straighten all that out, but take your yarn bundle and lay it down. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to tie that nice and snug into a knot. And then whenever you make a tassel, you'll have one piece that lays down really nice and one piece that kind of sticks up. So what we want to do with this piece is we're going to grab our needle and then just send it in through the middle there and straight down and pull it down and then straighten everything out. And the next thing we're going to do is grab our scissors, and you'll have all these loops at the bottom. So you want to cut all the loops just like that, and then just kind of straighten everything out here. Just make sure it's nice and neat looking. And then we're going to just give it a nice cut across the bottom just to straighten it out. Just like that. And I like to just hold it very firmly and just give it one cut if you need to kind of touch it up a little on the end there. And then you're just going to kind of straighten it out, and we're going to tie it onto our snowflake, okay? And that's it. So then just repeat it for the other side. So here's our other side. We're going to just do one more over here. Okay, both of our tassels have been added and it looks beautiful. So that is how you crochet the Snowfall Table Runner. Thanks so much for watching, and be sure and click the subscribe button to get all the latest Fiber Flux video updates. Thanks again.